We begin with breaking news. The city of Springfield just announcing new guidance for Halloween. Thanks for joining us, everyone, on this Friday. I'm Chris Pisano.
And I'm Beth Ward. No door-to-door trick-or-treating will be allowed this year due to the coronavirus pandemic. However, other safe events will be allowed that will help reduce the risk and spread of COVID-19.
Halloween events that are not recommended this year are trick-or-treating from car to car, gatherings or parties, carnivals, festivals, and haunted houses.
Well, events that will be permitted in Springfield include online parties and contests, drive-through displays, and drive-through events.
Now to developing news out of Chicopee, where back-to-school plans have been changed at Bow Elementary School just days before classes were set to begin.
Parents and students notified today that they'll be fully remote until at least February of 2021 and not hybrid as originally planned. And this comes after an air ventilation analysis.
Western Mass News reporter Leon Purvis is live for us outside the school where he just spoke with the Chicopee School Superintendent. Leon.
Chris, Beth, Chicopee School Superintendent Lynn Clark says that there's not an adequate ventilation system in place at Bow Elementary School. Now, the results did show from the study that they could use open windows to make up for that. But Clark tells Western Mass News it wouldn't be the safest solution as the weather gets colder. She says about 90 students will be impacted by this. Special needs students and others who require in-person learning will be bused to another location. Clark says while both students will be online instead of in the classroom, it will give the district time to study the HVAC system and make improvements.
I know they're going to look at a rooftop ventilation system as well as an air-to-air ventilator within the classroom. Typically in a school system we have the education of students at the center, where this is a much different time, so we have to put health and safety in the center of our decisions.
Clark adds that the airflow study, it was done to all school buildings in Chicopee. So 14 of the 15 are safe to have in-person classes. Live in Chicopee, Leon Purvis, Western Mass News.
Leon, thank you. Western Mass News is your school authority. Several school districts are undergoing a cleaning process after members of their school community tested positive for COVID-19.
But health officials say not all circumstances require shutdowns and deep cleanings. Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo joins us live in Springfield now to explain. Audrey.
Here at Pope Francis School in Springfield, in-person classes began 2 weeks ago. But school officials tell us that one student has tested positive for COVID-19 and has been home for the last couple of days, all while classes resume. One student at Pope Francis Preparatory is at home after testing positive for COVID-19. School officials say the student likely wasn't infected while in the building and that they followed state guidance around cleaning. In a letter sent to parents, the head of the school outlines an area of concern for people who are within 6 feet of the student for more than 15 minutes. Dr. Paul Harrington says, quote, based on this definition, the school is working to determine which students, if any, may be considered a close contact.
It also depends on the length of time the COVID positive individual is in contact with other students.
Springfield Health and Human Services Commissioner Helen Carlton Harris says different circumstances dictate whether a full shutdown of a school is necessary or just some students quarantining.
In many school districts, students are confined to one classroom with the same students. That would mean that only that classroom with those students would be subject to quarantine.
Over in Munson, in-person learning has been pushed back after a spike in cases landed the town into the state's high-risk category. The spike came from a party, but town administrator Evan Brassard tells Western Mass News health officials determined that no school community members were at the gathering. A wide cross-check, Brassard says, involved more than just students.
Do they have school-age kids? Are they an employee? Are they married to an employee?
Brassard says full shutdowns likely won't be needed unless the COVID-positive person traveled all throughout the school building, in light of their rigorous cleaning practices.
By the time you actually learn that there was a positive person there, you've already cleaned that area several times.
Now, this is where communities and school districts appear to differ. Ludlow had a teacher test positive, and a member of their school committee tells me that their agreed upon plan is that anytime there's a positive case in a building, it's going to trigger a shutdown and a deep cleaning of that facility. Live in Springfield, Audrey Russo for Western Mass News.
Audrey, thank you. Western Mass News is your school authority. You have questions or concerns as schools prepare to open back up, and we're getting you answers. You can call us with those questions at 413-846-0200. You can also email us, schoolauthority@westernmassnews.com.
Western Mass and the world remembers the nearly 3,000 lives lost on this day, September 11th. 19 years ago.
Hard to believe. COVID-19 forced many ceremonies to take on a new look and feel this year. However, from Boston to Westfield, the 206 Massachusetts lives lost that day are being remembered and honored. At the State House Friday, Governor Charlie Baker presented a flag to be lowered at half-staff, a small gathering live-streamed because of COVID-19.
And for the first time in my time as governor, we aren't gathering together in the House chamber to talk about 9/11 and all that was lost that day here in Massachusetts.
Pre-recorded parts of the ceremony intertwined with the live ceremony.
For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
It's no secret that Massachusetts suffered as much as anybody on 9/11.
And while this year may be different than in years past,
I hope by continuing to gather, even if it's virtually as we're doing this year, we are sending a message loud and clear that almost 20 years later, we have not forgotten and we will never forget the loss and the sacrifice of so many on that terrible, tragic, awful day.
as tradition holds, the name of each victim from Massachusetts read aloud, this time pre-recorded by family and others.
Jamie Lynn Fallon, Alexander M. Filipov.
Ceremonies across the state held for sons and daughters of cities and towns lost that day, like here in Springfield and in Westfield.
This certainly was an international event. It had national implications for America, but the grief was born in local communities like this.
Congressman Richard Neal tells Western Mass News coming here and remembering is personal.
I knew these families, and I think that they are part of a rich history now of those who sacrificed.
Like Matt Trant, who lost his brother Danny Trant, who worked on the 104th floor of the North Tower in New York City.
On this day, it becomes a little more fresh because your focus is a little more keen, you know, and it brings back some of the more raw emotion of the time.
Well, the Massachusetts Fallen Firefighters Memorial Ceremony also held virtually and live streamed this morning.
Here's a look at today's numbers of COVID-19 cases. The Department of Public Health reporting 443 new cases for a total number of 122,202 in the Bay State. There were also 14 more deaths today. The statewide death toll now standing at 8,971.
Well, plenty of sunshine out there this evening. Temperatures are already starting to cool off a bit. We're down to 71 degrees right now. Dew points are in the middle 40s. Look at that blue sky here from our Six Flags sky cam. It is gorgeous outside, but it is a little cool because we do still have a solid breeze coming in down from the north, and that 10-mile-an-hour wind is making it feel just a little bit cooler outside today. We've already got some middle 60s through North Adams and Pittsfield. Same for Cummington, down to 65. And then we are getting awfully close to the 60s here in the Pioneer Valley, only just a degree or two warmer. Temperatures will cool off quickly tonight due to all of this dry air that's now back in place that looks to linger throughout most of the weekend. And we do have a mostly clear sky. Cloud cover continues to diminish off to the south. And with that clear sky in place, thanks to high pressure, we'll see those temperatures drop pretty quickly once the sun goes down. That sunset time is down to 7:05 tonight. We go down to about 60 degrees by 9 o'clock. We're in the 50s before midnight and quickly falling into the 40s by early tomorrow morning. A good chill in the air early tomorrow as the sun comes up. We will have plenty of it though, and that'll help warm temperatures up steadily. As we progress into the afternoon, I think we'll have more of a mix of sun and clouds, but still a beautiful day on tap. Not as breezy as today. Temperatures look to get back toward the middle 70s. It looks like we're going to stay rain-free even into Sunday, but we will have more clouds to deal with.